Audio plugged in. I think we're good to go now. I didn't have the audio plugged in. My bad. My bad. Let me try that again. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to NASCAR 06 Do It for Dale Series Race, Busch Series Edition. And we are at the Daytona International Speedway. Race number 18 of 35 on the season. And we are getting set for the second half of the season for the Busch Series tonight. Our driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes into... Is there still no sound? Okay, you guys... I forgot, the chat's a little delayed. You guys were saying no sound when there was sound on my end there for a little bit. But it was muted at the start. Sorry for that. I did not have my audio plugged in. But anyway, we are good to go. Going through the intro again. Again, race number 18 of 35. Coming into the standings... This race for Dale Earnhardt Jr. currently 6th after 6 straight finishes in the top 6. He's had a little bit of a hot streak, 3 wins in that last 6 race stretch, and he just finished in a podium slot in 4 of the last 6 races as well. Can he keep the hot streak going into Daytona tonight? It's going to be interesting. I have not won at Daytona in any series in this game, have never won there in the Cup Series on an EA Sports NASCAR game, and only have 1 win at Daytona in any of the 3 series in an EA Sports game. If I do my math here quickly, NASCAR Thunder 2004, I went 0 for 5, so 0 for 5 there. NASCAR Chase for the Cup, I was 0 for 5 in the Cup Series, so that's 0 for 10. Won 1 Busch race in 5, I want to say? 5 potential Busch Series races? No, not 5 Busch races. It would have been 4 Busch races. 4 Busch races, and then 3 truck. 2 truck, because we didn't get to the final one. I'm just trying to think here off the top of my head. 2, 6, plus whatever I've had in this one. So that's 16, plus NASCAR 06. We've raced there once in each series, plus twice in the Cup. So 4. 18. Off the top of my head, 18 races. Points paid at Daytona on the EA Sports video games. I've won 1, and that was a Busch Series race at Daytona. This is a Busch race at Daytona, so we'll see if we can get this ready and ramped up. Qualifying will begin. Gonna have a little, well, actually, I'm gonna run the same setup for qualifying as what I will for the race, so that way I don't forget to make the racetrack setup as I usually do when I do qualifying on the live stream. So let's get today's race underway. Michael Turner, R6, Wade Zielinski, Derek Booth, NASCAR LOL, Jackson Thomas, Ashton G, Isaiah Z, and others, welcome to the stream. Yes, I did go to the Mid-Ohio Truck Series race today, so that is why there was no live commentary for the Xfinity race today at Daytona, at Atlanta, another super speedway race. It was a pretty good one from what I saw. I got home at the end of stage 1, and then I went to my grandpa's house where my family was for the rest of the night. So went there, watched the rest of the race, pretty much the last like 40 laps of the race or so. I watched at his house, and then what else was I doing? Well, I was pretty much over there, ate dinner, and then I got back. So ready to go for this one. This is going to be a fun race tonight, I'm sure of it. The super speedway races on this game in particular have been really, really fun and entertaining, even though the finishes necessarily haven't been the best at Daytona, specifically for myself on this game. That's right, we're going to do it for Dale. Race highlight video from the grandstands will be on the channel after the stream tonight. I have everything edited. It is through the YouTube uploading process right now. So it's processing on YouTube. I would have to imagine within an hour after the race tonight, race highlight video from the grandstands will be out from today's Mid-Ohio Truck Series race. But in the comfort of my own home for this one, and I will be giving you guys the live commentary for tomorrow's afternoon race for the Cup Series. That'll be on the USA Network, but our coverage will begin at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the race starting just after 3. There is rain scheduled for tomorrow, about a 40% chance, so we'll see if they can get it in. Qualifying lap, Dale Jr. on lap 1 staying to the bottom. Not going to try the tactic of trying to go to the outside on this first lap to build up a little extra momentum for lap 2. He's just going to try to go for the pole as soon as possible and run the bottom lane through each of the first 2 laps. Really low. He stays all the way through 1 and 2 and into 3 and 4. He's got a really good lap going for himself right now, all things considered. Not going to be a pole time on lap 1, but it should be a time in the top 10. And he can go for broke on lap 2. 8th fastest on lap 1. Didn't see the lap time, though. Decent lap. He's going to have a good starting spot, but he wants a better one. He's got to really try to make sure he holds that steering wheel steady through turns 1 and 2 and then into 3 and 4. It's a bumpy Daytona surface in the year 2005, so easier said than done. Low downforce, of course, with these Gen 4 cars as well. A lot better on lap 2 for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Will he get the pole time? He's going to go down to the apron into the tri-oval when he gets there. And at the start-finish line, 49.616. Quicker on lap 2, but not quickest. And he will be starting 5th for tonight's race. Tony Stewart in the 33 car will be on the pole. Bobby Labonte for the second straight race will start in the top 3 as he'll be outside of the front row as well. Mid-Ohio is now officially better than Trash Atlanta. Welcome to the stream. Toxic Punk Young Boy. Welcome to the stream. Trying to speak too fast there. Going to Michigan. I saw that, Wade, in a comment you had on a previous stream or something. I remember seeing the comment, reading it. But looking at the other comments. It's going to be your first race since 2011. Awesome, man. Where are your seats? I don't know. Patrick Shadley, welcome to stream as well. I don't have my tickets for that yet because I don't know exactly how many of my family members are going, but I will be at Daytona. Or, sorry, not Daytona, Michigan. I keep saying Daytona because that's where we're racing tonight. That's the main focus, of course, for the time being over the next hour and a half. Green flag is going to be in the air, and we are underway, under the lights, at the Daytona International Speedway. 100 laps to settle the score today. Dale Earnhardt Jr. got a great launch from the 5th place starting position, goes 3 wide to the inside, and he is going to be going for the lead in turns 1 and 2. He's got it! What a start for Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 81. And as they get up to speed off turn 2, pole sitter Tony Stewart going to get to the outside while Martin Truex Jr. down on the bottom right now. He'll work with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jr. is going to stay on the inside with his teammate. Jr. got to the lead very briefly, but he couldn't hold on. Took a little bit longer getting from 3rd to 4th gear. Bobby Labonte moves in front of him, and of course, in the Cup Series, Labonte and Stewart are teammates. Not so much in this series, though. It was Stewart in the 33 and Bobby Labonte in the 19. And caution on lap 1 off turn 4. That did not take long tonight. Caution on lap 1, and that's probably going to set ourselves up for likely a wreck fest if that's saying anything. It looked like they were almost 4 wide off the exit of turn 4. It all got crunched together. 3 by 3 at least. J.J. Yaley was involved in the accident. It looked like a 3-car crash off of turn 4 will bring out our first caution of the day. But on lap 1, I'm sure everybody will stay out of the pits. Yeah, how about Parker Kligerman winning the race today for the Truck Series? He deserves a full-time shot at good equipment. If he ran the full season, he'd be in the playoffs, but because he hasn't ran the full season, I don't think he's playoff eligible for the Truck Series, unfortunately. Row 22. He'll be able to see most of the action from that high up. Green flag going to be back in the air. We'll see if Junior can get to the restart this time. He was good into turns 1 and 2, but once they got to the backstretch, he couldn't get up to speed as quickly. Junior with another great launch, though. He did pick up 2 spots from 5th to 3rd on that opening lap before the caution came out. He is clear of Tony Stewart. He's sitting, he's waiting on going up to 4th gear from 3rd as he tries to control both lanes as Bobby Labonte moved to the inside of Tony Stewart as well. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads down the backstretch at Daytona. And this blue Menard Chevrolet. Tyler Burbeck, welcome into the stream. Not sure where Boyer started. I see him back in the pack a little bit, though. Nearly 3 wide off the exit of turn 4 as Dale Jr. got put in the sucker hole between Bobby Labonte and Aaron Crocker. Tony Stewart will continue to lead every lap in the early going of today's race. 3 wide middle in the tri-oval is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Slight bit of contact with the 19 of Bobby Labonte. Very lucky to not have a wreck. And we finally get our first green flag lap of the race in on lap 5. Aaron Crocker, who won the season opener at Daytona in the 120-lap, 300-mile day race, is challenging for the lead on Tony Stewart in the 33 car. Side by side for the lead at the front of the field right now. Dale Jr. holding clear for 3rd for the time being. trying to get a draft off the leaders in front of him if in any way possible. He'll move to the outside, probably a bad idea because Clint Boyer's going to get underneath him off turn 4. Junior into the wall just a little bit again. Lost a lot of momentum on the front stretch with getting into the wall. There was no practice for Dale Jr., just qualifying, so these laps right now under the lights are the first laps of a Busch car under the lights at Daytona this season. Or maybe a little on the tight side. Junior right back to where he started in 5th as Aaron Crocker leads the field. Three wide into turns 3 and 4 back behind. Labonte stuck on the outside. Now Kyle Busch and the 5 cars up on the outside lane. I think that's Matt Kenseth. Either Matt Kenseth or Mark Martin in the Pennzoil car. It might be Mark Martin in number 9. Dale Jr., Martin Truex Jr. trying to work together. The 2 Chance 2 Motorsport cars coming off of top 5s. NASCAR Fan 88, welcome to the stream. Game name, this is NASCAR 06 Total Team Control. 2005 edition of the EA Sports NASCAR video game series. Dale Jr. can't quite get off the exit of the corners as quickly as the cars in front of him right now. It's seemingly where he's struggling. Still has not led a lap yet today despite challenging on the initial start and restart. He's been in the top 5 for the whole event though, so that's good. Dirty air is going to be a problem in traffic. We've seen that on these super speedways so far this season. I'm sure we're going to see that today again. Dale Jr. trying to stay tucked in line behind his teammate Martin Truex Jr. for right now. Dale Jr. coming off a win, in fact, last night at Milwaukee. Truex finished 4th. Stewart to the outside. Clint Boyer is going to follow him in the 2 car with Crocker still leading. Crocker trying to get the Daytona sweep tonight. That was their only win this season. Dale Jr. to the inside of his teammate. Truex on the back straightaway. Pulled to the inside because Clint Boyer in the 2 car went down there. He'll follow the points leader into turns 3 and 4. And drives to the inside of Stewart. Had to lift a little bit to keep it off the 33 car. He was carrying so much speed through the bumps into turn 3. Crocker continues to lead off turn 4, but Dale Jr. moves up 2 spots that lap and Boyer up 1. No Torres, welcome to the stream. Trying to do full length race in NASCAR 21 can't do it. Yeah, it's tough. That is probably the toughest game to do it, only because of how glitchy the game itself is. It's more taxing mentally. Well, bump draft getting into turn 3, and Dale Jr. shot Boyer. May give him a run down the backstretch to get around Crocker, but now Jr.'s not close enough behind him when Boyer pulls out of line to be able to make the pass. Clint Boyer on the inside of the 6 of Aaron Crocker. Crocker with a block into turn 3. Boyer checked up just a bit and couldn't get to the inside of the 6. An Evernham Dodge leading 3 Chevrolets and then a Ford, and we have another crash off turn 4, bringing out our 2nd yellow in the first 10 laps of tonight's race. We had a caution at lap 1 off turn 4, and now a caution here. Michael Jourdain Jr. goes around. He pinched the 56 car into the outside wall, it looks like. And they weren't 3 wide that time. It looked like he just got a little out of shape, overcorrected it into the 56 who was on his outside as they were double wide further back in the pack. And Jourdain goes for a spin into the infield. So caution is out again. Junior's going to stay out of the pits again to keep this track position. I don't think anybody else is going to hit pit road still this early in the race. So 2 cautions already in this one. It's going to be one of those super speedway races today. And we'll get another restart going. Green flag back in the air, lap 14. Well, Boyer's going to try to take the look to the inside on Crocker initially. Junior going to get underneath Boyer, though. Can Junior get to the lead for the first time today this time? He's got the good launch. He's going to be able to clear again, but is he going to be able to actually hold on to the lead all the way back around to the start-finish line when they get up to speed? That's where he struggled the most on the restarts. Goes to the bottom to try and block Clint Boyer and does. Boyer's got help from Tony Stewart in the 33 car on the inside as well. Stewart moves to the middle now and to the outside behind Aaron Crocker in the 6. Truex is up there as well. 3x3 into turn 3 up ahead. for about third place. They stacked up further back off turn 2 on the restart initially, and Aaron Crocker holds on to the lead at Daytona. And the 9 car, Mark Martin, gonna get to second place. He restarted behind Dale Jr. in 4th, moves up 2 spots on the restart to get to second. This is on the PS2. Junior staying in the gas, getting really tight. Probably should have lifted. He's in the wall and can't get off of it right now as he's glued to it. Finally gets off of it, but loses a ton of momentum and is back to the 8th place position. That was a tough break for Dale Jr. A fall in line behind his teammate Truex. It falls from 3rd to 9th in 1 lap after nearly taking the lead on the restart. He's got really tight. Probably going to have to loosen this car up a little bit when he gets to that first stop of the day. And for the first time, Dale Jr.'s fallen outside the top 10. If he just would have lifted, he would have broke the momentum, probably would have lost a couple positions, but he wouldn't have fallen that far back. Hindsight is 20/20. But that was the decision Dale Jr. should have made for it to have been the right one in that position. 9 car in the lead. 1 car drops to the apron and has blown an engine right now. And it's Aaron Crocker who led on the restart. Crocker has dropped an engine from the front of the field. And she is going to have a last place finish in this one if we didn't have a DNF from those first 2 accidents. Tough break for the 6. I'll have to keep an eye on the other Evernham Dodges of Casey Kane and Jeremy Mayfield tonight to see how they're going to run on horsepower. With one of them already out of the race. Kenny Wallace, Dale Jr. working in tandem. Carl Edwards just a couple positions back. Crocker able to get to pit road. We continue to stay green. Reagan Fan 6, welcome to the stream. Gonna see another failure, or will we dominate? I don't think I'm gonna do a dominant race at this track. Junior just to the inside of Kenny Wallace. He didn't want to actually get to the inside of him, but Wallace moved off the bottom, and Dale Jr. had such a big run. Kenny gets the run off the outside, though. A little help from behind now from J.J. Yaley in the 18, who was actually involved in that first caution on lap 1. He'll move to the inside of Dale Jr. in the center of the tri-oval. Jr. going to go down and block him, though, before they get into turn 1, back to the inside. And again, back behind the 22 of Kenny Wallace. Crocker ahead of us on points. I can't remember. Another car has dropped an engine from the front. It's race leader Mark Martin. So 2 of the front runners have dropped an engine on back-to-back laps, and that will give the points leader his first lead of the night. Clint Boyer out in front. He'll get 5 bonus points. Junior 284 points behind Boyer coming into this race. This is not ideal. Boyer to be leading. Even with Junior in the top 10 right now, he'd lose points. Both Dale Jr. and Clint Boyer are tied with 4 wins apiece for the most wins this season. Clint Boyer, obviously a Busch Series regular only. Dale Jr. a Cup Series regular. And then Carl Edwards, who's another Cup regular, has 3 wins on the season. Had 9 different winners so far in the Busch Series season. We'll see if we get 10 tonight. It's the final super speedway race of the Busch Series season. 3rd and final one at that. Junior to the inside of Kenny Wallace in the 22 car. Into turn 3. Truex going to move down right in front of his teammate. Dale Jr. stays on the yellow line, picks up another spot. So with the 2 engine failures in front of him, plus a pass on Kenny Wallace there, that's going to move Dale Jr. back to 7th. Wallace scrapes the wall off the exit of turn 4. But now Dale Jr. can work with his teammate Truex for the time being. Lap 20. 100 laps at Daytona in all reality is not a long race. It will be if we get a lot of yellows, which again, we've had 2 so far. Again, Junior stays in the gas, but it gets really tight in the center of the corner. It's cost him time that he can't stay on the bottom like he was able to in qualifying when he qualified in 5th. So we know the 81 has pretty decent single car speed, maybe not the fastest car in the field, but he does have some speed under the hood of his Chance 2 Motorsports Chevrolet. trying desperately to stay in close proximity and in drafting range of his teammate Martin Truex Jr. Really tough right now. He does have help from behind. Kenny Wallace, Carl Edwards, and J.J. Yaley are the 3 cars in line behind Dale Jr. Boyer is leading the way. Edwards almost squeezed Yaley into the wall into turn 1 as Yaley got to the outside of the 60. On the back straight. Good run on the back straightaway this time for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Stays in the gas, didn't get tight even though he was a lot closer to the back of the 8 car that time getting into turn 3. And I will say that these guys are slowly closing in on the 3 cars ahead of them. They're still just over 2 seconds off the race lead after Junior got in the wall a couple laps after the restart. Halfway out of fuel at lap 22 during this run, but we've had 6 caution laps already in the early going of the race as well. Only bright side with Junior's car being tight is he doesn't have to worry about spinning out on the apron if his car's not hooking the bottom lane. Very easy to do on most tracks with banking in this game is if you get on the apron, you're going to go for a spin. Not something you want to do here at Daytona, of course. But the bottom is the shortest way around. Trying to fight it through these bumps and in the dirty air, though, is a difficult task. Dale Jr. drafting behind his teammate Martin Truex Jr. once again. Desperately trying to get these guys to the 3 cars in front of him. Jr. goes up the track, gets tight again. Is Truex close enough to be able to draft off Tony Stewart, the 33 in front of him? Stewart was a pole sitter for this race. Has ran top 5 in the early going. Junior's backed off enough. He should have a big run on the backstretch if he could at least hold in the draft, but 4 cars versus 2 is going to make it a little harder for Earnhardt, but he does have a little bit of help with Kenny Wallace behind him. Truex intentionally going to go to the outside. Junior in the middle corner moves up as well, trying to stay in the draft. Lucky his car didn't get tight again. Definitely going to have to loosen this bad boy up under the first stop. Truex with a move down to the bottom. Oh, Junior got into him. He lifted and still got into the back of the 8. That was costly. I'm surprised Truex kept his momentum up. Junior ended up in the wall, though. He definitely didn't. I didn't even think that was possible. It's like there was a hitbox or something there. I didn't realize that Dale Jr. was on the outside of Martin Truex Jr. going into turn 1. I thought he was still behind him, so when he tried to duck in line behind him, he ended up clipping him in the right rear. We continue to stay green, but that is problematic for Dale Earnhardt Jr. because he's right back to 10th place again and has to draft behind the 18 of J.J. Yaley and a huge pack of cars behind him now. And he's stuck on the outside. Kenseth's going to get underneath him. Junior has to lift just to keep it off the wall on the outside lane with his car already being tighter. Trying to fight to get back down to the bottom, and it's not going to happen. But by leaving that top lane, Ryan Newman got to the outside. Junior had to lift off turn 4 to keep it off Newman. Loses more positions and is back to 14th. Dale Jr. struggling despite a good qualifying effort tonight. The lack of practice definitely hurting. Follow Brian Vickers in the 57 car. Briefly at least, he'll get to the inside of Vickers now into turn 1. Ryan Newman in the 39 down to the inside. Junior can draft behind him as he clears Vickers for 15th. Well, try to get as many of these spots back as possible. He's 7.5 plus seconds off the race lead from Clint Boyer right now. Still a long time to go though, only quarter of the way home in this one. Junior trying to pick up another spot into turns 3 and 4 on Newman. He will for 14th. Didn't pull high to clear Newman, even though he was clear, because he realized he was too far behind the other pack of cars in front of him. to draft off of him, and he seems to be a little bit better of a push car, so let the 39 of Newman go underneath him again. So he can, therefore, sit behind. Two cars side drafting each other, got side by side, and that's going to allow the three cars in front of him to pull away just a bit. Super Speedway racing, this one's almost similar to what you might have seen in the Xfinity race at Atlanta earlier today. Now Junior pulls out of line. He's close enough behind Shane Meal in the 32 on the backstretch. Blows by Ryan Newman. Should be able to stay in the draft behind Meal now in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Newman in line behind the 81. That may help a little bit. Dale Jr. is definitely closing in. He'll be close enough into turns 1 and 2. Meal goes to the outside. Jr.'s got to go up there to stay behind him. That's going to leave the bottom open for Ryan Newman in the 39. Nope, maybe not. Thought Newman was going to get underneath Dale Jr., but I guess he didn't have enough help from Vickers behind him. Down into turns 3 and 4. Jr. squeezes underneath Shane Meal. Just enough room, but he couldn't make the pass. Drops in line behind him again. Into turns 1 and 2. Dale Jr. to the inside of Shane Meal. Easily gets around him. And now drops behind the 79 of Casey Kane. He's trying to pick him back off after falling back to 16th. He's passed 3 cars in the last handful of laps. Trying to get himself a little closer to the front. Kane runs the outside that time, so with Junior's car automatically being tight, he tried to drive it into the bottom. Car naturally gravitated up to Kane, so he didn't have to lift that time to keep the car on the inside lane. There wasn't as much of a gap between the two cars, so that worked out for Dale Jr. that time around. Again, there he goes lifting. He still goes wide, though. He needs to lift or he's going to end up in the wall. But if you're lifting, you're losing at this style of racetrack. Especially mid-pack in these circumstances. Hard to get a run if you're out of the throttle. Kane again to the outside. Quarter tank of gas left for the 81 right now at lap 31. I would imagine it's going to be a 2 pit stop race today, so not many attempts at being able to make any adjustments on the fly throughout today's race. Newman zooming to the inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jr. left it open because he was trying to follow Casey Kane. Maybe it is going to be better for Casey to get down to the inside. Jr. still stuck on the outside of the 39 car as Newman's not letting him in. He's got drafting help where Newman does not. I think Shane Meal just clipped the wall. Saw some sparks out of the rearview mirror. Newman slides clear of Dale Jr. Now he'll throw a block on the back straightaway. Jr. going to get back underneath him. And also gets to the inside of Kane into turn 3 as well. But Newman thought about dropping behind Dale Jr. He did not. He went with Casey Kane instead. Jr. trying to break apart those two cars as much as he can. Can he keep it off the wall, off the exit corner? He does! Brian Vickers shoots the gap on the inside. Makes a bit of contact with Dale Jr. and stacks up Ryan Newman in the 39. Jr. drives on, but he may lose the draft with just that little bit of contact from Vickers. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up with the 79 of Kane anymore. Peter Conover, welcome to the stream. Hit that like button, everybody. We've had consistently over 20 people watching for most of the race in the early going. And subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not already. Probably going to be seeing cars hit pit road very, very soon. When we get to the start-finish line this time by, we'll take our first field pass of the race. And we'll see what Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car is doing a little bit further up in the running order and currently inside the top 10. Dale Jr. has lost his drafting partner for the time being of Casey Kane in the 79. Truex currently in 5th. So he is in the top 5 and drafting behind the 22 of Kenny Wallace. Truex with a big run, going to get to the inside of Wallace into turns 3 and 4 for 4th. Top 3 have really separated themselves up ahead. And it sounds like Truex only has about an 1/8 of a tank of gas left. .113 car, one of the fantasy drivers in the front running of the field. We haven't had one fantasy driver win this year. It was John Hamilton back at Darlington. Getting the win. Kenny Wallace blocking big time. And Truex saying, hey, I need a little bit more room there, buddy. Into turn 3. They're side drafting the heck out of each other. Wallace almost got into the wall. There goes a 113 on the inside. And I think he'll be pitting this time. Kenny Wallace will not be pitting. Neither will Truex. Have to see if Dale Jr. pits this time. It looks like he'll be staying out. And Truex might have lost the draft now from Kenny Wallace. He's got Tony Stewart in line behind him. Followed by Matt Kenseth and Carl Edwards. A lot of Cup regulars. Back to back to back to back here. There might have been one extra back. But you get the point. Don't want a caution to come out in the middle of green flag pit stops. Most of the cars that are pitting right now are likely going to stay in the lead lap if they were further enough towards the front of the field. Caution! Well, there it is. The yellow flag is out at Daytona for the 3rd different time today, and those cars that were on pit road are going to be the new leaders. Oh, Brian Vickers cleans out the 113. What was he doing on the apron? I don't know if he maybe blew an engine, was down there and missed pit road. Whatever the case, he cleaned out the 113 who was coming out of the pits, who was actually in 5th when he pitted. And that means everybody else will pit under the caution. So chance for 4 tires and fuel for Martin Truex Jr., Dale Earnhardt Jr. And no adjustments to the 8 car. That's unfortunately going to mean that no adjustments are going to be made for the 81 of Dale Jr. So 3 cautions already in tonight's race. This has made life a whole lot harder, though, for all those cars that did not pit. Perfect timing yellow for everybody that was on pit road and just making their way off. They won't have to pit here, and they'll get to cycle to the front of the field, so I have no clue. Look like there were a decent amount of cars that were there. Truex is going to be the 5th car off of pit road. And he was even, what, 8 spots ahead of Dale Jr.? Looks like Bobby Labonte will be the leader on the restart. I guess Truex isn't that far back in the field. He'll be restarting 13th. Lost 2 spots on pit road, so ideally only lost 6 spots due to the shakeup. Green flag back in the air. Truex thought about going 3 wide middle that time. Instead stayed behind Stewart blocking him. I think Earnhardt might actually be in front of the 8. Dale Jr. seemingly had a pretty fast pit stop. Truex in the 8 car trying to get up to speed. We'll go back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. on this next lap. definitely not Clint Boyer out of the lead with that caution. Kyle Busch is way down low. In the middle of the corner, hugging the yellow line. 2 tires on the left side, both below. And contact off turn 4 up ahead between Busch and Yaley. They'll drive on. Truex blocks the bottom to keep from going 3 wide middles. Kenny Wallace taking a peek to the inside of him. And, well, here's Dale Jr. He's in 18th, so he's a couple spots behind Truex. On 4 fresh tires. On the outside lane into turn 1. Just gets down to the bottom in the middle of the corner. That hole opened up quick. 3 wide with Miller right behind him. Dale Jr. sitting behind Carl Edwards in the 60 right now. Edwards sits behind the 22 of Kenny Wallace. Fortunately, with that caution, Dale Jr. couldn't pit. When he did pit, but he wasn't able to make any adjustments, so he'll only have 1 stop. He could be able to do that a little bit later in the going. It's really tight, and he's having to lift. Which, again, is unfortunate, because he's losing time with it. Big run, though, on the back straightaway, heading towards turn 3 for Dale Earnhardt Jr. 1 car nearly into the wall on the outside. Losing a lot of momentum, and Kenny Wallace was able to get around him on the bottom, as well as Martin Truex Jr. in the 8. William Windex, welcome to the stream. Big block in the tri-oval by that car that got in the wall in turns 3 and 4. Stacking up Jr. just a bit. Jr. gets to the inside of him finally. And Truex squeezing his teammate a little bit there. And co-owner. 3 wide off turn 2. Jr. getting some sort of a draft off Kenny Wallace in the 22 car, but because his teammate Martin Truex Jr. is alongside of him, it's side drafting Dale Jr. enough that he's not able to carry as much speed into turns 3 and 4. He'll move up in front of Truex. Well, thought about it. Now he is clear. Truex back to the outside again. He's going to need Truex to move to the bottom in front of him. I think Jr. had enough momentum that he was probably going to be able to pass. Another car in the wall in turns 1 and 2. That might stack up the back of the lead pack just enough that the 2 Chance 2 Motorsport cars can catch up. Truex definitely has a big run to the back of him right now. Into turns 3 and 4. Both the 8 and the 81 down to the bottom. They run 14th and 15th. And Bobby Labonte has led every lap from the restart. These are the first laps he's led today. He finished in 3rd last night at Milwaukee and won the race before that at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. Matt Kenseth looking to the inside of Dale Jr. Jr. does not want to be on the outside into turns 3 and 4, but it looks like he's going to have to settle with it. The 113 car who was involved in that accident is the car towards the outside lane right now. Kenseth moves to the bottom. He may get underneath him. And no more help behind Dale Jr. with Kenseth getting around him through 3 and 4. That 17 car looking like a rocket ship into the tri-oval right now. Dale Jr. gets to the inside of the 113. Dale can get a car behind him as well as a car in front of him. I think he'll be all right on speed. Oh, that might... Oh, I thought they were going to be 4 wide for a moment off turn 2. I think they stayed 3 wide off the exit of the corner. All jockeying for position right now inside the top 5. Had 3 cautions, but we haven't had the big one. 4-car wreck on lap 1, followed by a 3-car wreck a little later. They're 3 wide again through turns 3 and 4. Kenseth got a huge bump draft, by the way, from the 81 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. That launched Kenseth ahead of Truex. I'm surprised those cars up in front of Dale Jr., Matt Kenseth, and Martin Truex Jr. haven't wrecked. As wild as that battle has been. 2 by 2. Squeezing each other on the outside as they continue to get stacked up. Kenseth's going to take it 3 wide to the bottom, but he doesn't have much help behind him. Dale Jr. is just, again, barely close enough to be able to cling on to the draft from his teammate Truex. Really lacking turn in the race car right now as he continues to struggle with a tight race car. One car down to block Truex off the exit of turn 2. Truex looking a bit lower in the tri-oval. Junior has a 113 car behind him, but that 113 car's probably got a little bit of damage from that last caution. And Junior's starting to lose the cars in front of him again. 121 car will be the next car in front of Earnhardt. Bonnie not pulling away like Clint Boyer was when Boyer was in the lead. We'll flip to Truex one more time in hopes that Dale Jr. with the AI help can get to the back of this pack. Truex currently in 12th. Trying to side draft the 2 of Boyer. Kenseth moving back down to the bottom to get underneath Kyle Busch. Oh, contact! Kenseth trying to clear. Busch was not clear off the exit of the corner. I'm surprised that kept the 5 car from hitting the wall. We'll be halfway home this time by. Massive run into turn 1 for Truex. 2 cars behind him got up into the outside wall. No help behind the 8 until Kenseth moves down in front of him at least, along with the 83. That's maybe going to leave Kyle Busch out to dry. Kenseth gets blocked into turns 3 and 4 with the 83 car. Massive run into turns 1 and 2. Truex to the inside of Kenseth for position. He'll clear him. Looks to the inside of the 83 car in the backstretch. The 83 squeezes him, but Truex gets underneath him into turns 3 and 4. Hangs on to the bottom, and he's up to 9th. Slowly moving his way through the field right now. Kenseth's gonna follow Truex into the tri-oval. And we'll go back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 81, who has caught the 121 car, but I think that's because the 121 lost the pack in front of him. So Dale Jr. just gonna have to sit behind the 121, draft behind him. 49 laps to go in this race. And I'll pause it real quick on the back straightaway because now it's time to find a trivia question for you guys tonight. We'll find a Daytona track fact. Might take me a little bit to find one. Bear with me. Try to make it as quick as I possibly can. No, that won't work. All right. Tonight's trivia question on the channel. Who is the last driver to start on the pole and win the Summer Xfinity Series Daytona race? That is tonight's trivia question. So again, tonight's trivia question. Who is the last driver to win from the pole in the Xfinity Series Summer Daytona race? And you guys will have until lap number 60 to get that question correct down in the chat. Unlimited tries for anybody in the chat. Dark Crypto, welcome to the stream. Like 2x2 racing up ahead. That might allow Dale Jr. in the 121 car to close in just a bit. Derek Booth says Dale Jr. That is not the answer. It's close. Dale Jr. started third back in 2010, but did not start on the pole. And he won his Summer Daytona race, his most recent one at least. Off turn 4, Jr. to the inside. Might have been a little too early of a move on the 121 car. Knowing that he is going to lift and allow the 121 car to get back in front of him into turns 1 and 2, and he'll try it again. Hopefully he didn't lift too much. Desperately has to stay in the draft on the back straightaway. It's going to be tight. And not Dale Jr. New leader, by the way, it is J.J. Yaley, who was involved in that first caution earlier tonight, is now leading, taking it away from his teammate Bobby Labonte. It is not Matt Kenseth. Ryan Rodriguez says Kyle Busch. Welcome to stream, Brian. And nope, that is not it. Not Kyle Busch or Denny Hamlin. You're definitely naming drivers that have won the Summer Daytona race. Summer Daytona race for the Xfinity Series started in 2002. There are only so many winners. These guys were not the last ones to start from the pole. Not Greg Biffle. He never won at Daytona in the Xfinity Series. There's a pass. Dale Jr. getting around the 121 car. Drafts behind the 117 now into turns 1 and 2. They have caught the lead pack. At least some of them. And on the back straightaway. Jr. going to work with the 117. He wanted to work with his teammate Truex, but he doesn't want to go to the outside. So he'll stay on the bottom lane and get around his teammate for 13th. Dale Jr. has still not led a lap today despite qualifying fifth and challenging on that initial start and then an early restart in this race. Gonna become a dad again. Congrats, man. Congrats to you, Derek. Junior lifting. Out of the gas. Still gets into the wall. Still can't get off of it. My goodness. He was way out of the gas trying to get off the wall. And now he'll lose the lead pack. That's unfortunate. He's going to fall about 4 seconds off the lead. It's not Regan Smith. It's the third time Dale Jr.'s gotten into the wall today. Gets clipped in the left rear and taken out by Casey Kane. Big save on the inside of the track, but unfortunately Dale Jr. is going to have to go to the rear now. Fourth caution of the night. Great save by the 81. You see the donut on the left side of his car from Kane in the 79. Outside the pit window to make it to the end of the race yet, so nobody else is going to pit. And because Junior was involved in the accident, he cannot pit for fuel or tires. 3.8 seconds off the lead right now is Earnhardt. I'm Jeffrey Earnhardt. I do plan on going to the SRX race. As of now, I have to get my tickets yet. I tried to look at them last night. I couldn't find where I could buy them. I don't know if they're sold out or not. I know I need to get on it. Not Matt Kenseth again. Tonight's trivia question: who is the last driver to win an Xfinity night race, Xfinity summer race at Daytona, starting from the pole? Last driver to win an Xfinity summer race at Daytona, starting from the pole. It's a trivia question tonight. Dale Jr. to the back. He's going to have a problem trying to keep up with the draft on the restart on these old tires that have been worn out. This is extremely problematic for Dale Jr. as it looks as if he is going to lose the draft. Tony Stewart to the lead on the restart off turn 4. Not Regan Smith or Kyle Busch. I'll give you guys one more lap to try and figure the question out. Not Michael Waltrip. Junior just passed somebody. I don't know who. It's been somebody who could have potentially DNF'd during the caution. I'm not sure. Not Tony Stewart. He's won a lot of Daytona Xfinity races, so that's a good answer, too. Not Kevin Harvick. Guys, I have a couple hundred feet for me to go before I answer the trivia question tonight. I gave you guys the lap 60, the caution laps we ran to get us to 60, so I gave you guys a couple extra. Not Paul Menard. So again, tonight's trivia question and answer: who was the last driver to win an Xfinity Series Summer Daytona race? Starting from the pole, the answer is Clint Bowyer in 2009. Clint Bowyer in 2009 was the last driver to qualify on the pole and win at Daytona in the Summer Daytona Xfinity race. I don't think of Bowyer as one of the best super speedway racers, but he does have one win in the Cup Series at Talladega on a super speedway, and has that Busch win at Daytona as well. Dale Jr. losing the draft on the restart, being at the back of the pack. He's been good on the restarts today, but not this last one. And he got put in the back because of that spin after contact with Casey Kane off turn 4. He saved the race car, but caution came out Because of bringing out the yellow, he couldn't pit for fuel or tires, and these tires are worn out right now. But he is going to need a caution at some point if he's going to want to get back into it. We've had 4 cautions so far today, but you're this late in the race, you never know if anyone could be the last one. Even with the pack bunched up together like it is. Not sure exactly what the fuel window is right now. Nobody has started to pit yet. As soon as cars start pitting, I think there's a good chance Dale Jr. is going to pit as well. And it's going to have to be a fuel-only stop for Earnhardt. Tires are already old as it is, but he's got to get back into this race somehow. That's the Monkey 92 Hammer. Welcome to the stream. Cars on pit road right now. Dale Jr. going to make the late dive as well. Trying not to lock the tires. He does not, and he's on pit road. It'll be fuel only for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's going to top off. They're going to take a half a round to wedge out of the car to try and loosen it up just a bit. And he's going to try to hopefully get back out on the racetrack with some of these cars is the plan. And try to draft with them at least until the end of the race. Off and away goes Earnhardt. And I think he's going to be close enough to be able to draft off of other cars. Yep, he's definitely going to be able to draft with other cars once they get up to speed. He's going to hope he doesn't go a lap down in between now and then. Who knows, maybe there's a timely caution just like there was the last time. Gets around John Hamilton in the 120. 3 more cars just up ahead. Here come the leaders off of turn 2 on the backstretch. Dale Jr. is going to pull up in front of him trying to stay on the lead lap. Kyle Busch going to move to the inside of Stewart for the race lead now into turns 3 and 4. Jr. trying to draft behind the 135, but he's not quite close enough. He is not going to be close enough to draft. And he's going to get split 3 wide middle contact with the leaders. Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart nearly go around, but they save it off turn 4. That got tight. Busch veers back into traffic in the middle of the tri-oval, stacking up the rest of the leaders now. We continue to stay green, and Junior drives away from it. My goodness. There was nowhere for Earnhardt to go. He held his line in the middle, but Kyle Busch came off the yellow line when he tried to go 3 wide to the bottom simultaneously while Stewart went to the top. And Earnhardt got squeezed literally in between the 2 cars. They both simultaneously made contact with Earnhardt. And somehow the 81 drove on, not losing too much momentum, but obviously he doesn't have any cars to draft with again. And I believe J.J. Yaley is in the lead now. Regine Huddleston, welcome to the stream. Ethan, welcome as well. At least Junior stays on the lead lap. And here comes Yaley, who is the leader behind him, but Dale Jr. is going to have to draft with somebody. He's going to let Yaley go on the back straightaway. He'll draft with the 18. He'll be the first car lap down. So he'd get the free pass. Willing to make a little bit of a sacrifice. The problem is the 81 is so slow. For whatever reason, at single car speed, despite the fact he was not this slow. Well, I guess he's got older tires now. Equal on laps compared to Yaley. It's Kyle Busch who just came out of the pits. Earnhardt's just not fast enough right now. I don't know where the speed went out of this 81 car. But it disappeared. think we could all say that this is just more bad luck for Dale Earnhardt Jr. at Daytona this season. Gets nearly turned again by Michael Jordan Jr. Another save by Earnhardt. They just keep turning into him off the exit of the corner. I mean, he can't do anything about it. That is now the third time that has happened to Dale Jr. today. Great save as he loses more track position. He's definitely not in the free pass position anymore. Tony Stewart might have gotten into the wall into turn one. More of the leaders pitting up ahead. Junior squeezes the 117 into the wall that time. It was his fault. He almost doesn't even want a car to get back in front of him again, just because every time they get in front of him, they just pull away, and he's constantly losing more track position. Plus, he gives up the bottom of the track, and he pretty much about gets turned by another car trying to pass him. Turned down right in front of Shane Meal, and that's going to bring out a yellow. That was Earnhardt again. Turned down in front of Meal. He was desperately trying to get back in line behind another car in front of him, and there was not enough room there. Meal hit the wall pretty hard on the outside of the track, I do believe. Yeah, he kind of slapped the wall off turn two as well. It's our fifth caution of the race. And Dale Jr. is going to get trapped a lap down with this yellow, unfortunately, and he can't pit for fuel or tires being involved in the accident. A frustrating race tonight for Dale Earnhardt Jr. where nothing has gone right and pretty much everything has gone wrong. That bad timing caution earlier, and then the last two, he's kind of gone for spins. He saved it both times. That time was his fault. Before that, when he went to the back of the pack because of a spin off of Casey Kane's front bumper, Kane had gotten into him. It's going to trap a decent amount of cars a lap down. And Dale Jr. is going to have to try and race his way back on the lead lap the old-fashioned way. 25 laps to go on the restart at Daytona. Clint Boyer will lead on the restart. Again, he is the points leader. Oh, big stack up on this restart. A lot of cars flailing around right now trying to get back up to speed. Junior blocking as many cars as possible. He picked up 2 positions and passed 2 or 3 lead lap cars as well. Back down to the bottom in front of G.G. Yaley into the corner. Look how quickly the top of the field spaced apart, though, after everybody got stacked up. Again, it takes Dale Jr. a little longer to get up to speed, but all things considered, that was a pretty good restart for him. You factor in the older tires as well. Junior's not going to be able to get to the bottom into turn 3 with J.J. Yaley underneath him. Three wide off the exit of turn 4 up ahead. I don't know where the cars went behind Dale Jr., but they got stacked up somewhere, and now he's got no drafting help. He couldn't keep up with the cars in front of him because he had no help from behind him again. And backwards goes the 81 for the upteenth time tonight. It just gets frustrating to race here anymore on these EA Sports games. I don't know what I have to do to win one of these races. And the fact is I'm not even getting good finishes either. I somehow just get shuffled to the back. Another car blowing up, trying to get to the apron of the racetrack. Turns 3 and 4, 3 wide behind him. Whoever that is, almost gets careened. It's John Hamilton in the 120. That's going to be another position for Dale Jr. Hamilton missed pit road. He's going to have to go all the way around this 2.5 mile racetrack. A 3 wide mess in the middle of turns 3 and 4 right now. Jr. got to sit behind Michael Jourdain Jr. in the 10. I don't think he's going to keep up anyway. Let Kyle Busch go. That's for a position too. In hopes that he can draft behind Busch in the 5. So many cars out of the race, I think he can only go backwards to about 35th. He's definitely going to pit for fresh tires if we get another caution. That he can't be involved in, of course. And the worst part that's put the cherry on top of this tough performance today for Dale Jr. is the fact that Clint Boyer in the 2 car, the points leader, is the one leading the race today and has led a lot of laps with it. I would not doubt that he will go on to lead the most laps and get a max points day in tonight's race. Kane on the inside of Earnhardt. Last time that was the case, he turned the 81, and from then on, the race has gone downhill for Earnhardt. That was about halfway through it. Kane to the inside. Jr. blocks him straight into the infield. Dale Jr. got stacked up. Somehow I don't know what happened to 131, but he checked up. And Jr. purposely squeezes Casey Kane into the wall in frustration and basically turns himself. And that's going to bring out another caution. Oh, they stacked up further back. Miller was in the grass on the inside. Lazy spin off turn 4, but then there were other cars that kind of ran into each other in the aftermath of it. The back of the pack. Can't really see. There they go off the screen. Still more than 10 laps to go on the restart. So that means all the lap cars will still be on the inside of the lead lap cars once again. Following caution number 6. Junior wasn't trying to bring out a yellow there. He didn't want any other cars to be involved in the field either. He was just trying to get back at Casey Kane. And unfortunately with the contact, it sent the 81 around. Right in front of the 79. Kane definitely got squeezed into the wall with it. Tempers on a super speedway doesn't typically turn into good fortune. And we'll head to the next restart Dale Jr. back to 39th. Well, never mind. I guess there's not as many cars out of the race as what I thought there was. Green flag back in the air again at Daytona. Whatever spots Dale Jr. could get initially on this restart, he's just going to have to hang on to him. Cars are already fanning out, 2 and 3 wide. One car into the wall on the outside. I think that was Tony Stewart. That was a 133 car. See Stewart a little bit further up ahead in the middle lane. Jr. was only able to pick up one spot initially on the restart. Moves to the outside. And Clint Boyer holds on to the lead for the first 3 quarters of the opening lap. Nearly 3 wide at the front of the field. Jr. just got put 3 wide middle off turn 4. He's going to lose that spot he gained on the restart. Got into Meal. Another car on the wall in turns 1 and 2. I think that last hit into the wall did him in. Yeah, Stewart does have the Old Spice paint scheme in this game. So does the 133 though, so I get those two confused a lot. Especially when it's a 33 and 133. It's kind of hard to see the 1 on the side of the car sometimes. Even with the cars at the back in the pack right now, Dale Jr. can't keep up with them with the damage and the old tires. Bobby Labonte's found himself towards the back. I wonder what happened to him. He was towards the front at one point. "11 laps to go at Daytona." It's going to be another lap down finish for Dale Jr. And his hot streak of 6 straight finishes in the top 6 will definitely come to an end. Earnhardt going 3 wide to the bottom. Contact. He stayed in the gas, but he got tight again and didn't lift. And because they were 3 wide, that led to that. I'm about to just park it in frustration. About to pull a Kyle Busch. Just disconnect my own controller. This has to be the most frustrated I think I've been with this game so far. I mean, right when we start clawing ourselves back in the point standings, and we have a lot of things going right, coming in off a win, even that's not good enough to get over the hurdle of Daytona on these EA Sports games. I don't even know how I won a Busch race here in NASCAR 05. NASCAR 06 is definitely a tougher game than NASCAR 05, but still. It's going to make not Dale Jr., but it's going to make myself 1 for 19 at Daytona. 1 win and 19 points races at Daytona on the EA Sports games of this game, NASCAR 05, and NASCAR Thunder 2004. I just let those guys go. I'm not even going to try to draft with them anymore. I know they weren't for positions, so I'm done accidentally wrecking people. I'm just going to ride around at the back for the rest of the night. Maybe there'll be another caution that stacks the field back up. Who knows? I'm hoping Clint Boyer gets in the big one or something here from the lead, trying to block or whatever the case is, because Dale Jr. is going to lose a lot of points to Clint Boyer. Clint came in with nearly a one-race lead in the point standings as it is. I think he has more than a one-race lead in the point standings. We'll check out those point standings once this race concludes tonight. Dale Jr. came in 284 back. He's going to end up... He didn't lead a lap today. Boyer's probably going to go on to lead the most and win. Pulling a Recky Spinhouse, yeah. Unintentionally losing control of my own car on a super speedway. Is that what a Recky Spinhouse is? I mean, I might be 400 points. I'm probably going to be over 400 points out of first now. Still 17 races to go, but... Right when I started turning around, the only bad thing is, too, is I was turning around getting good finishes, but I was barely beating Boyer every race. If not, even those finishes I wasn't winning. I think he won one of the races, and he was... Like, I probably gained in that 6-race stretch of having 6 straight top 6s. I probably gained only 60, 70 points on him. Because that was about 359 back, or 369. I think I was 369 points back 6 races ago. Cut it to 282, or 284. And now it's about to go right back over 400 again. The good news is, this is the last Super Speedway race of the Busch Series season. There is still one more on the Cup side, but it's in the chase. And, of course, Dale Jr. won at Talladega in the Cup Series race. I'm a little better at Talladega than Daytona. I think the track's just wider. And with the track being wider, it gives a little bit less room for error, I guess, with NASCAR 06. Because the cars are so hard to control in this game on the intermediates and even the super speedways. I get put 3 wide like I did there, and it was hard not to make contact with other cars. Now, granted, every time I was 3 wide and made contact with somebody, it was mainly their fault. The only 2 times that it was my fault was that deal with Casey Kane. I purposely did that. I just didn't mean to wreck myself. And then the other time was with Casey Kane, where he spun us out off turn 4. And Junior wasn't even having a bad day at that point. He was only in, what, 15th? On the lead lap, still had a shot, but ever since then, he has been dead in the water. Got 5 laps to go currently. Caution comes out now, the race may end. There's a wreck on the final lap. It will not be the finish, or it will finish under green, I should say. There will be no caution. By having 4 cautions in the first 50 laps of the race, only 2 in the second half, but they were both for Dale Jr. Both spinnings. Pretty much saved it both times, but that's unfortunate. Stayed ahead of the trouble early, but then once he got himself in the mid-pack, where most of the trouble, if not all of it, was all night, that's where he also got caught up in it. That was after I qualified 5th, too. To start up towards the front, and then still have this happen. Never even led a lap. Challenge for the lead early for about those first dozen laps or so, and that was about it. That was as good as it got for Dale Jr. today. What's wrong with the fuel gauge? Three laps to go. Quarter tank of gas left for Dale Jr. Everybody's good on fuel to the end of the race, especially with the cautions late. Clint Boyer's going to have 2 more laps to go, this time by. After finishing runner-up at Milwaukee, again a race that Dale Jr. won, led the most laps, but only gained 20 points on Boyer. And he is going to lose over 100 in this race alone. So forget about that win that he had in the last race. Still don't think we saw the big one, though. 6 cautions, but I don't think we had more than a 4-car wreck. 2 to go. They get to the white flag. The race will end under green. And Clint Boyer is going to have, from where he's at on the track right now, about 3 more miles to try and win this race. Can he do it? Final lap. This will be the 5th win of the year for Boyer. It'll give him the most wins in the Busch Series so far this season. Junior did not DNF tonight, but it's going to be a lap down 39th place finish, which I believe is going to be his worst finish in the Busch Series this season, if I'm not mistaken. Start climbing again in points next race. Going to have to. We're going to need Boyer to DNF probably twice if we're going to want a shot to win the championship, on top of obviously consecutive good runs. You get so late in the season like this, and even though there's still 17 races to go, I just don't feel I'm going to have a great shot to win the title unless I get a little help. And I'm going to have to be nearly perfect the rest of the season, which is tough with this many races still to go. Checkered flag is already waved for everybody except for Junior, rounding out the 39-car field of who's remaining in the race. Clint Boyer has won the night race at Daytona for the NASCAR Busch Series. Yeah, that was ugly. Matt Kenseth ends up finishing P2. He had a fast car tonight as well, but nobody can beat the 2-car Clint Boyer, who goes on to lead the most laps and win the race. 46 laps led from the 8th starting position for Boyer. Max points day for the points leader himself. Matt Kenseth ends up finishing 2nd. Smith ends up 3rd. Brian Vickers 4th. J.J. Yaley, who wrecked on lap 1, still led 16 laps today and ends up rounding out the top 5. Trigger ends up finishing in 6th. Kenny Wallace 7th. Michael Jardine Jr. was involved in not 1 but 2 accidents, and he finishes 8th still. Irvin 9th. And Casey Kane, who spun Dale Jr., which was right around the halfway point of today's race when Junior was still in the top 15 all day up to that point. Unfortunately, that was it, and Junior can never recover from that. Casey Kane's got another thing coming, let me tell you. I lose this championship. If I lose this championship by less than 100 points, I'm blaming Casey Kane. I gotta say, way back in Daytona, it was all Casey Kane's fault for turning me off turn 4. Well, we go back, we can look at the replay, but I think it was pretty obvious I held the outside lane and he got into me off turn 2, and away we went. I mean, we saved it, but obviously we went to the back of the pack and my tires were shot after that. Truex ends up 13th. He had a quiet day. Stayed out of trouble at least, but started 3rd. Went backwards from where he started. Not a good day for Chance 2 Motorsports. Tony Stewart finished the lap down. Only 24 cars finished on the lead lap. Stewart led 11 laps. Aaron Crocker and Mark Martin both blew engines early in the race. Martin was leading when he blew an engine at lap 18, and then 2 laps prior, at lap 16, Crocker was in the top 5 and blew an engine after leading 9 laps at the start of today's race as well. Carl Edwards also blew an engine. John Hamilton we saw blew an engine late. Those are the 4 drivers who DNF'd. So 2 of the Roush Fenway Fords blowing engines tonight. And now we'll take a look at the Busch Series point standings going into the next race of the season. Next race for the Busch Series will be the USG Duroc 300. And it will be at the Chicagoland Speedway. Dale Jr. trying to get that first win on 1.5 miles this season. In the next race. Came close in the Cup race, finished 3rd, so I have hopes, high hopes for the Busch race. And he's going to need those high hopes. He had high hopes going into tonight at Daytona after 6 straight 6th place finishes or better. 3 wins in the last so many races. Look at that points lead for Boyer. 255 points ahead of 2nd. Far and away over a one race worth of points ahead. J.J. Yaley second in points with 255 back. Truex is in fifth, 370 back. And Dale Jr. only lost one spot in the standings with a 39th place finish today. Of course, John Hamilton was ahead of him in points, and he ended up DNFing as well. Aaron Crocker also DNF'd, and she was right there around Jr. in points. So those three, all three of those 6th through 8th place drivers in the points standings DNF. But Jr. still 7th. He only lost one spot, but goes from 284 points out of first to now 428 points out of first. By far the most points he's been back. He is over 2 races behind Boyer in the standings. Boyer going to need a DNF twice. He's going to need to DNF once just for somebody else to have a shot. Like, he could DNF once and he'd still have almost a 100-point lead. That's how far ahead Clint Boyer is right now. It's insane. We'll see if he can keep that insane hot streak alive, though, at Chicagoland in the next race. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Every time I watch you on a super speedway, you do terrible. I'm sorry. Tonight was not my fault. And a lot of the time, it's just kind of bad luck. Tonight was Casey Kane. He's got another thing coming the next time we see him in a Busch Series race. He doesn't run all the races, so he might not. It might be a while before we see him in the Busch Series, but I'll remember. I will remember. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon. Live race commentary for Atlanta Super Speedway on the Cup Series side of things. So can't wait to see that one. Been on YouTube. Welcome to the stream. That comment. That's one good way to go out tonight. But I'll see you guys tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live commentary for tomorrow's Cup race at Atlanta. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your Saturday night.